Hello, welcome to the Lower League Footy Show. While you're on 3B's radio, do not adjust your sets or your audio. This is a recording. We are not live, unfortunately, but it's Alan. I'm joined by Dan and Stephen. Good evening, gentlemen.
Evening. Good evening.
How are we all doing?
Yeah, not bad. Nice to be in the comfort of my own home when we do this. Normally, Dan's normally has to get a flight.
Yeah, I've not travelled 6 hours, but I'm not going to lie, we're recording it on Tuesday night, and I'm a little bit nervous and a bit twitching ahead of a big game tonight.
Yeah, so we should say that the term is at the time of recording, it is Tuesday night. It is the night of the Arsenal versus PSG. Dan is, obviously, those listening aren't going to see it, but Dan's sitting there in his Arsenal top and with a beer in hand, almost. And nervously waiting.
Is it at home?
Nervously waiting for the game.
It's at home.
Oh, at least then you get.
Hopefully, we'll be able to get this. Hopefully, we'll get this episode out, the video out at some point.
I'm going to long this out until about 7:58.
Shut up. Let's go.
But look. This is a special episode, a special show because it's our final show of the season. It's also our final show of. I said it forever on Facebook, but I didn't mean forever.
Yeah, you made it sound. We will
be back in some sort of guise, but we'll touch on that a little bit later on. But first, look, this episode, this show is going to be all about all the cup finals that are coming up. Firstly, I want to ask you guys, what are have you got any memories of cup finals that you've each played in? Dan, you go first.
So I tried to work out earlier. So North Bucks finals.
Oh, he's got a list.
I played in 4 North Bucks finals. I want to say I'm 2-2 in that. Obviously, I had a period of time with Cranfield. I've played in one and lost, and I think the Sunday League I've won. But I did work out, this is the embarrassing one, as a striker, every cup final I've scored in, I've lost. I scored a hat-trick in one for Cranfield and we lost 4-3. So,
no.
When it gets to cup finals, don't score.
Yeah.
That's got. I mean, that happened. That happened to France, didn't it? In the was it the Euros or the World Cup where what's his name? Mbappe scored a hat-trick and they still lost.
Happens to the best of us, then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Similar profile. I mean,
that's got Dan. No, that's got to be a gutting feeling though. That's got to be a horrible feeling to.
Yeah, and do you know what? I never noticed it until I started thinking about it. I was like, I remember I scored, funny enough, Kingy's not with us tonight, but I scored a Buckingham where the final was being played, an injury time equaliser, and then we lost 4-1 in extra time.
Worth it then.
The hat-trick for Cranfield, lost 4-3. And then for Shanger a couple of years ago, scored an equaliser to go to penalties, and then we still lost. So, not great.
Stop scoring. That's
Stephen, what about you? Apart from the obvious one, Stephen, that we like to take the piss out of you about. What memories have you got of cup finals? Playing and managing?
I manage it. It's more managing. Stopped playing obviously when I was about 17, but to be fair, it was a bit stressful. To be honest with you, I was more happy last year to actually get to a cup final because the last 4 semi-finals we'd lost. So 3 on penalties and 1 against the old who were Willen, Simon Brown's Willen. In fact, we lost. We beat them 2. We did the same thing as last in the final. Look, we had them last game of the season. Beat them 2-1 away from home. Buzzing. It's like, here we go. Set us up home in the semi-final. Lost 6-1. So it went well. Yeah. So that was good. But then obviously the obvious one that we keep coming back to is last season, which I was quite happy with, to be honest, because I'd never been to a cup final with Grendon. We'd had 4 seasons, 3 second place finishes, and all of them were semi-finals. So we'd never kind of crossed that threshold and got into a final. So I was buzzing last year, really. I mean, not that I was confident, but again, we beat Silverstone 2 weeks before at home, and then we got beat 3-2. So one of those as well where it was 2-2. And Jake, one of our strikers, he was going through on goal, and one of their players, like proper Valverde moment, just chopped him down and got himself sent off.
Right, the fans don't need to hear about his upsetness of last year, Alan.
I'm already no, but yeah. So then after that, they were down to 10 men, and they scored while they had 10 men. But we would have probably gone on a 1 with 11. So yeah,
you lost me.
Yeah, horrible.
Your final last year brings us on to the next talking point. What are your do's and don'ts of a cup final?
Breakfast at Beefeater. That's one that's off the menu for this year.
So I've learned this along the way, and it's so easy to get wrapped up in it. First of all, let's be honest, we're playing the bottom league of men's football, but we're used to playing on rubbish pitches, and all of a sudden you get to play a final on something that's half decent, and for the first time ever you get a decent crowd, didn't you? And you invite all your friends and your family and all that lot. But actually, I think one of my biggest don'ts now, and from experience, is don't take it too seriously. It is another game of football.
Yeah, I think that's, to be honest, I know we take the mick, but I think that may be of my downfall last year. I think because we hadn't got to one before, we were like, right, let's take this proper serious.
A bit too excited.
But in reality, this year, obviously, we're playing in one of them in a couple of weeks, but we're literally completely opposite now. We're not taking it completely. We're just going to go there, trackies, nothing, and just hope for the best.
Yeah.
Instead of making it a big thing.
It's a case of like, don't take it too seriously. It's another game, but is it also a case of remember what level you are? You're playing at.
To a degree.
I know it's a cup final, and a cup final is a big thing for a lot of people.
I think people just do like, and again, we're not. This is not a Mickey Taggart season, but I think people turn up in shirts and tie, and they do warm ups they wouldn't normally do during the season, where someone would boot the ball at the goal. Or so it comes to the cup final, and they think they're pep, and they start changing things. Like, it is another game of football, but like, I hate the cliche of play the occasion, not the game. Sorry, play the game, not the occasion. There you go, got that one wrong.
That's it. Yeah.
But like, it is just another game of football. It doesn't matter. And if you do that, I think the team who does that the best wins it 9 times out of 10.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do these in order of the final. So we're going to start with the Division 1 Cup final, which is Grid City versus Great Horwood. Bear in mind we've probably got about another 5 minutes.
So are you saying what date's that one on? Is that before ours?
Oh, have you got dates then?
Oh, now you're asking a question. No,
well, you just said we're going to start with the first one, and then you don't even know which one it is.
No, well, we're doing them in order of leagues. We're doing them in order of leagues.
This one is being played on the 14th of May at 7:30. So this is the midweek.
Oh, that just so happens to be my 44th birthday.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, right. Great. I'm sure that's why they did it on that day.
Grid City.
So Grid City versus Great Horwood. Dan, what are you saying? Grid City, they're top of the division, aren't they, at the minute?
Yeah, so Grid City won the league. They've got the 2 top scorers in the league. So Ryan Russell, one of them. I know Ryan well. He's a far better golfer than he is footballer as well, what says quite a lot. And I don't want to get the chap's name wrong, but they've got another player who's scored unbelievable goals. I believe his name, Bella. So Bella, and I don't really want to ruin his name. By the looks of it, he also was signed on at Newport Pagnell Reserves, so may have done a transfer halfway through the season. But both of them are the top scorers in that Div 1 league. So Russell's got 30 goals. Some of Ryan Russell's goals were for British Legion because he played for them at the beginning of the season. And then Bella, 25 goals. So 2 top scorers in the league. They have won the league. So this is where I'm going to go the old cup final trick of Horwood won one not so long ago. And I just think experience could pull through here because Grid City, first season back, we're in a cup final. And I don't know them. I only know one player. Then part of me says, is it the old cliche of they might take it a bit too seriously? Where Horwood, I played in the semi-final against Horwood for our Reddings. I played 20 minutes. And Horwood just know what they're doing. They've been together for years. They've got a player, Connor Bingham, who lovely little player in centre midfield.
Is he blonde?
Pardon?
Is he blonde? I feel like he's a good player. I remember, to be fair, we played obviously against them last season twice, and they were the only team that beat us twice.
Yeah,
they beat us home and away last season, and they're the only team to do it. It was just they were just, like you say, they were just really good at what they do, physical, and they dug in. And I guess you always say, I know we're going to probably go on touch on this quite a lot in the next hour, but it's a cliche, isn't it, of just like it's on the day. Cup finals, it really is. Like it's 190 minutes of football, and as we all know, like absolutely anything can happen. It's not a case of they're better. It's a case of if Hull would score early, or for example, or it goes a while and it really is situational.
And I think naturally, anyone who's not done this, who's not played in a cup final, again, and I'm saying this, I understand the level we're playing at, but we've all been there. I did it as a youngster. You're playing your first cup final, and you've got your mum and dad there, or you've got a girl you fancy come to watch or whatever, and you run your nuts off for 20 minutes, and then you're gassed because you've got to impress everyone, and then all of a sudden the other team who've got a bit more experience go, now we start to kick into gear. And I just think, look, I've not played against Grid City, so it's hard to, they could be unbelievable. But they have lost games this season, so that shows that they're not unbeatable. And I just think when I played forward, what I quite like about them is they've got a bit of everything. So they've got pace at the back. So if you are a team who's going to lump it to a quick forward, they've got a really quick centre half. So forward will deal with that. They're quite big and strong as well, so that they'll deal with that. The only thing I think Hallwood may struggle with, and again, I'm going off one game I played against them, is they don't score many goals. Or for us, they didn't look like they had a lot of firepower up top. They've got a lad who used to play for, or he was at MK United Reserve last year, and before that he was at FC No Impact. So they're not known for their goals. And when I'm looking for,
I've forgotten about that.
When I'm looking for the league scorers, they've got no one in the top 25. So,
and actually, to be fair, they were supposed to play. Great Order was supposed to play them on the 19th, and it was gave the game to Grid City. That was supposed to be their game in the league. It was an away win, yeah. And then obviously last week, Great Order reserves at home drawing 3-3 against Real British Legion.
Yeah.
So yeah, a good result.
The other thing with these cup finals, and it's going to be the same for them, I always say is form goes out the window, and how you did in the league goes out the window, because it's the one game a year where every single player is available.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
you don't have to tell me.
Yeah, so it impacted it to us. We beat them 5-0 and 6-0. Turn up cup final day. There's 5 faces we've never seen before.
Yeah,
and they're all signed on, but that's the way it always works.
Did you beat them that day?
No, we lost on penalties, mate. All right,
beat by FC No Impact. I didn't realise that. I did not realise that.
Right. Yeah. Look, we are fast running out of time before our first break. Let's get some score predictions in for this one. Great Hallwood versus Grid City. What do you reckon, Dan?
I'm going to go 2-1 Great Hallwood.
Okay, 2-1 Great Hallwood. You're going to write that down?
Yeah, I'm writing it, yeah.
Stephen, what do you reckon?
I'm going to go 3-1 Grid City. I just think when you've got players that have scored 50 goals collectively all season, I reckon they score first. Teams at Hallwood, I reckon they score first. But I think then in the end, I think quality, they'll just make too many chances. Grid City, and they'll get that done in the second half. Yeah,
I think I'm going to go with Stephen. It's going to be a high one. I think I'm going to go 4-2 Grid City.
Okay, cool. This could be like Gary Neville's stick football thing. We get points for the right result. We'll work that out. Okay, Alan.
More like MK Athletic will win the final. We're not even playing in it.
So yeah,
right. We've got like a minute to go before we go for a break, so we'll touch quickly on Grendon versus Buckingham in the intermediate. But no, we'll come back to it after the break. But quickly, Stephen, you've got about a minute. Are you excited? Is everyone excited? Is everyone available?
Yeah, everyone's available. Everyone's back, amazingly. Ewan's back from New Zealand now this week, so that's nice. A nice little adder back to the squad. Still, just managing minutes this week. We've got to play them tomorrow night. We've got to play Buckingham at home tomorrow night. So, but I think, as we've seen in the past, there'll be a completely different team that we play on the 17th to what we play tomorrow. So if we were to go, it honestly wouldn't surprise me if we were to go and even win heavily tomorrow, and then it's a completely different game on the 17th. They've got everyone available. Yeah. People just want to play in finals that we haven't played. I know they've got a goalkeeper who played for Buckingham, didn't they? I can't remember his name now. He's a really good keeper. Not played for 7 weeks, but you just know on the 17th he'd be there. So realistically, and then again, when midweek games, they just you never know, do you? So tomorrow should be a fun one. Manage some minutes. I'm excited.
It should be an interesting one. Look, we're just going to go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more on this one. Okay, right, Dan, you've obviously played against these two sides this season. What's your take on them?
So,
be nice.
No, so look, Grendon, I've said it before. I think Grendon are a very, very, very good team, and on their day can compete with teams in the Prem. I think that's how good their quality is. They're brilliant, and they will all be there on the day. A couple of key players for me. I think I don't know his name, but you're the captain, long-haired lad in the middle of the park.
Liam.
But Liam, he's a fabulous player, like brilliant player. If I was to pick holes in his team, I would say that long over the top balls. If you've got someone who's quick enough, you can get. That's where we found beginning of the season. First time we played Grendon, that was there. But look, they're a really good team, and let's be straight up. They should beat Buckingham well.
We should have beaten Silverstone well last season as well. So that just shows you, doesn't it?
And you would argue Stephen's got one of the best strikers in the league. However, what I would say about Jake, and I'm not saying it because he's only 4 goals ahead of me, he is an instinct striker. He doesn't want time and things like that. And I think in the big games, in the big moments, he could rush chances. He could also score them, we could see. With Buckingham, what Buckingham turn up?
It's a really unknown property.
We've played Buckingham twice. We've punked them twice. I think 5-0 and 5-1. I think we beat them. However, they've got real quality. You can see they've got 3 or 4 players who are brilliant. And I think on the night, if they went 1-0 ahead, all of a sudden, because we've said this before on the show, we Stephen, Buckingham, if you score against them early, they almost fold.
Yeah, heads go. Head loss all the time.
Well, as I say, good-looking lads have their good-looking girlfriends turn up. They want to show off, put on some skills. They could do it. And look, they've got some really good players. So it's one of those where I think Stephen should win it. However, trauma of last year, Buckingham go 1-0 ahead. All of a sudden, the Grendon players thinking, "Oh, not again. Here we go again." Because last year, let's be real, this is not a dig. That was a monumental car crash to lose to Silverstone. That's not the Silverstone of this year. Like you said, they went down to 10 men, and they still won. Grendon should have battered them. Absolutely battered them. So hopefully Stephen doesn't have too much trauma left over from last year.
To be honest, I wouldn't say trauma. Actually, I think it's definitely made me better. I think you learn more when you lose, don't you? I think you wouldn't, but I know I've learned a lot from last year, and obviously, I think I've heard a couple of murmurings because there's a couple of people that know a few people from each side. They're gonna have mascots and walkout music, so maybe the opposite might help for us to the fact that we're playing. I think the only thing we're playing away in Buckingham. I don't know how much that would be. I don't know how much that would make the difference. Obviously, more people would obviously come and support Buckingham. But again, at the end of the day, we've our record away from home is actually better than our record at home this season. So you can't really look into it.
And you've got to think as well, and this is a defence for Stephen, Buckingham do have the ability of playing 3 players from their first team from the South Mids. They're allowed to do it. So as long as they've played 5 games.
Even in the cup final?
They're allowed to play. As long as they've played 5 games for Buckingham, not in the North Bucks, just 5 games for Buckingham, they can technically play, I believe. So, there might even be the really good players from their dev side in the UCL Reserve League. They would make a difference in this game. So, we could see that on the day. We could, if they're lacking a couple of players, they can call upon that, where Stephen obviously doesn't have that ability.
Yeah, like I said, I think at the end of the day, with us this season, I think it's all going to be business for us. I look at this game as actually being harder than the one that we played last season. I think we'll definitely play a better team in this game than we did in the last one, and that's why for me, I think it does take the pressure off us a little bit, really, because last season we were beating everyone. We were top of the league. We lost very few games. This season we've been a bit sort of here and there. We've missed players, but we've got ourselves to this position. So for me, it's a free hit. I'd be lying if I didn't say I'd be upset if I lost the cup final, because it'd be nice to win something. Because that's, if you look at my record, lots of promotions, lots of semi-finals, couple of cup finals, but no actual trophy, which is something that, to be honest with you, it's not great. Like you want to win stuff, don't you? Like it's not. you want to win stuff, and then and for me, I think that'll be the cherry on top for me, because I had a lot of success, but with now that final hurdle, so it'd be nice. We'll see. For me, it's 50-50 that game, because we could, like you say, play we'll play a really brilliant Buckingham team, whatever happens. It just depends. If we turn up on our day and we're playing our football, there's not a lot of teams that, if we're on, we've got the ability to beat anyone when we're on. But it just depends if we find it all and put it all together. But it's the same as anyone. Same as anyone.
And when is your cup final? When is this one?
17th. Yeah, so not 2 weeks on Saturday.
You got the horrible kickoff, didn't you? You got the 12 PM one.
Yeah. We had that last season though. But to be honest with you, I think I prefer that though, because I'd just be walking around the house all day in circles until 4 PM.
Yeah. Right. I won't ask you, Stephen, because you're involved in the game. But then
he's got
8-0. 8-0.
We've got 2 score predictions. I'm gonna. Everything in my being wants me to say a Buckingham win, because otherwise I don't know if I can deal with the. I'm putting me out of office on if he wins, but I do think on the day Grendon will probably have too much, so I am going to go 2-0 Grendon. I
think it's going to be a lot closer than the Grid City game that we just talked about. I think it's going to be. I'm going to go with Stephen. Be on Stephen's side here as well. I'm going to say 2-1 to Grendon.
Yeah, I'll go 2-1. 2-1 Grendon.
What? So let me just get this clear. You're saying your brother's going to score and concede?
Look, you can.
It's a penalty. If they're listening to this,
if it's a penalty and he goes right. But no,
right. We'll slowly.
You are listening, Buckingham. Stutter, go left. Ryan will go right. I promise you.
Right. Next cup final is the Reserve Cup final. Stukely Development versus MK City Reserves.
You know what? That's an absolute stonker of a game. Like MK City Reserves are 10th.
I want to fight.
They're horrible. They're not going to like a nice flat pitch, are they, either? So it's going to be... And they're playing... And Stukely Development, I'd say personally, have got the upper hand because they've lifted the trophy already this season, haven't they?
Yeah.
And they've been in a cup final, won 4-0, won heavily. So for me, it's going to be a Stukely win for me. Like, I just can't see any. Like, if you look at MK City's reserves' last results, I'll just get it now. I said that really confidently, like I had them all in front of me, but I don't. They lost 2-1 against Wing Development. Where am I?
So I'm looking at results now. I'm looking at results between those two teams. Stukely were awarded the home game. They got a home walkover against MK City, and they've still got to play each other. We've still got to play each other. Got postponed the MK City. So I dare say that's coming up in. Probably the week before, knowing the North Bucks, they like to do that, play the week before.
Yeah, literally, you do a cup final of the cup final.
One thing I would say, so MK City, their goalkeeper, Harry, so I know Harry, he's one of the best keepers in the league. He is phenomenal. He loves to come out and smash people, as MK City posted a couple of videos of him doing so. But for me, I know he's a goalkeeper in his final, but he could be a difference maker. He played a couple of games for me.
In a good way or a bad way, in fact. Yeah.
But like he's a real player. So I don't really know many of the other lads. Don't get me wrong. Again, MK City have the ability to play three first teamers, like Stukely would. But only difference is Stukely first teamers who played this weekend in the Prem semi-final couldn't play. But if there was any who didn't play, would be eligible to play for Stukely. I don't think MK City first team win a cup semi-final, so that gives them an option, so to speak.
Well, you played in that game, didn't you? Did you play? You came on in that game, didn't you? The semi-final against Deansanger. That was the game. Was it 3-2?
No, that was Horwood.
You sure?
Yeah, I
thought I literally just read that.
No, I didn't come on against MK City. I didn't play in that one. We were playing Woburn that day.
Okay, so MK City reserves. Yeah, so MK City reserves in the semi-final. They beat Deansanger in the semi-final.
I would say they beat a bare 11 of Deansanger with no goalkeeper.
13.
There was not 13 there. Anyway,
I'm looking on the team sheet, mate.
We had an under-16 right back playing in goal. Put it that way, Charlie Fisher.
I mean, I'm sorry. I get stick for these excuses. I had an under-16 goalkeeper. He only had one arm, the poor guy, and it's yours.
Well, look, it's a shame. It's a shame that Kingy's not here because obviously he was part of the Stupely dev side this season. He can probably offer us a little bit more insight into their team. But have you guys ever had any dealings with both of these sides in the last?
Well, we played them twice last season, didn't we? Yeah. And obviously the first game we played, we beat them 13-0 away from home. And then we beat them 3-0 at home in the semi-finals to get into the cup final last year. But they were definitely a team on the up. Like they had a couple of new guys. The managers came in towards the end of last season. And they've gone from strength to strength, really, haven't they? That reserve side, they've got better. Or worlds better. So they've obviously got a couple of... They lost in that cup final last year. They won it this season, so definitely on the up.
Looking at goal scorers for them, just so we can sort of see who. So out of the two teams, the highest scoring player,
Mike King.
He didn't score, did he?
30 headers.
So Stupely have the highest scorer in that game. So Ellis Cap, he scored 14 and 18, and then MK City's top scorer, I believe, is Ace Adams. What a name. Ace Adams. And he scored 10 goals.
Definitely fast.
So, Stupely got another lad in the top 20, Ryan Lafferty. So, I'm going to go on the side of I think football's going to prevail here. When I say that is, I mean Stupely play the ball around. Stupely are a get the ball down and play type of team. And as Stephen said, they've already won a cup this year as well. So
been there, done that. Yeah,
they've got over the line. Look, I'm not going to criticise MKC. I don't know barely any of them. But like you see, they have had games abandoned this season. And antics that can be classed as intimidating, they can't do that in the cup final. Too many people are there and things like that. So maybe Stupely get their hand. But I don't know. I wish MK City all the best of it. I don't really have a dog in this fight, so to speak. So... but I'll go with...
We still need to push you for a score prediction, though, Dan.
I'm going to go 1-0 Stupely.
Oh, very nice. Stephen?
3-0 Stupely. I think they won a cup final. They won a cup final 4-0 a few weeks ago. They've scored goals in finals. They've been there. They've done it. I think they'll acclimatise much quicker. So yeah, I'm going to go with that.
I'm gonna go 2-0 Stupely.
So all I can say now is MK City, go prove us wrong, and we will gladly give you your plaudits.
MK City, more red cards than goals this season.
We don't know that. We don't know them, but yes. So Alan, I presume are we going? No, we're not going for a break.
No, we're going to go for another break. When we come back, we have got a couple more games to go through. We've got Silverstone versus Old Bradwell in the Interdivisional Cup, and then Old Bradwell versus MK United in the Prem Division Cup. So when we come back, we'll be going through them. We'll be back after these messages. Right, and we are back. Gentlemen. This is going great. This is going really good so far. We've got some good information coming across from you two about all of these clubs. I never knew you guys
surprised.
had it in you.
You sound so surprised. We know what's going on.
Yeah, that's it. You are the lower league North Bucks legend.
Oracles, the lower league oracles.
Oracles.
Right.
Lovely.
Next game, as I said, the Interdivisional Cup, which is Silverstone versus Old Bradwell. Obviously, this is the Old Bradwell. Is it development or reserves? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, development.
Okay, so Old Bradwell development. Silverstone versus Old Bradwell development in interdivisional trophy. Stephen? What's your take on both these sides?
Well, I mean, this is a really difficult one to call because both teams have pulled off some pretty miraculous results. Bradwell beating Stupely, who have been pretty dominant most of the season. And then Silverstone coming through MK United, which is a I'd say it was a shock, but to me and Dan, who both played against Silverstone twice this season, not much of a shock that they've managed to do that, because they are a very, very, very tricky team to play against. They beat us 1-0 away from home. That was just a case of we'd completely dominated the game, had about 100 chances, and they scored once. And then we just could, like, defensively, they were really sound. And then again at home, we dominated the first half and got hit on the break and were 3-0 down after about 30 minutes. So they're a side that can really hurt you. And I think at this level, I think Dan, I know, not speaking of Dan, but pace in forward areas in these divisions will absolutely nail any team. Doesn't matter who you are. If you've got 4 players, I'd say, when it comes to Silverstone, who, as soon as that transition goes and the ball goes and you win it back, they are off. And then if you're not switched on, that ball's in behind and they're in, like, every single time. And I think Dan's got a similar experience.
It's good pace. It's not pace and they're donkeys and come.
No, it's good finishing. They're clinical as well.
Like, I don't know where this team come from. It's almost the same team as last year, isn't it?
Well, so basically,
bar a couple.
Yeah, so what they did is they sort of got their first team and then merged a lot of their younger youth teams. So Silverstone reserves last year had a few of those younger players in forward areas. And then they've obviously gone and then added to their first team. So realistically, you can see that their reserves that they must have taken quite a lot, because their reserves are getting beat heavily every single week in that Division 1. But the players they've taken from the reserves have just made their first team brilliant. I mean, like, especially last season when they had that window, didn't they, where they allowed them to sign players because they were struggling. But now they look like they're going strength to strength. And I would say personally, all season, even playing Olney, playing against Woburn, they are the best side in the league going forward, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, we played against Olney. We beat Olney in the cup. We should have beaten them at home. Away from home, we were outclassed. Away against Woburn, we had a lot more chances and went down to 10 men after 20 minutes and lost 2-0 in the end. But every game I've played, there's not one team where, apart from Silverstone, which I think they're miles above anyone. It would not surprise me if they win that final at all.
I have to admit, so I'm a bit with Stephen here. I think Silverstone are what the dark horses of the North Bucks. And, like, they shouldn't be. You look at the size of them and you go, you're just going to get bullied. But they don't. They're so quick, bounce off you. And then they've got 2 or 3. So when we played them recently, they pumped us in like 20 minutes. We actually did really well. We was 0-0 for 70 minutes, but we were 4-0 down after 20. But they had an old boy at the back who I'd argue is the best centre-half I played against this season. Really aggressive and strong and powerful. And I had a guy in the middle of the park who looked like he should have been retired 3 years ago. Really short, bald, but he just ticked things along, never lost the ball. He was brilliant. And I just think they've got nothing to lose. They're playing against a Prem team who are in another final. I don't know which finals played first.
They're inconsistent, though, I would say, with old Bradwell. They're very inconsistent. They go through patches where they're winning games, patches where they're losing against.
I had looked. They've lost 8 league games, what you would say is a reasonable amount. But yeah, it's like almost the nice story would be strictly sorry, Silverstone go on and win it, because that would be, that cup, although intermediate teams are in it and some Division 1 teams are in it, if you're not a reserve team, like that's almost the best of all the leagues. Because we know in the North Bucks, you get teams who are in the bottom division or middle division who are unbelievable because they're almost newly formed. This is the best of the best, really.
Is it Dan? Is the interdivisional cup then the competition that you all want to sort of really kind of win, because you're having to play the best of everybody else?
I'd say the way I look at it is the interdivisional is one where I don't mind if I was in the Prem, I think it'd be a completely different conversation. Yes. If you're in the Prem, you've got that expectation of you should be, if whoever you're playing, you're doing quite well. You're getting quarters, semi to that cup really. If you're a team that I think are challenging. And then but then as us, for example, we got semi-finals in the divisional and we got beat by MK United. So at the end, it was quarterfinals, so they played Stuttgart in the semi. We look.
They lost to Silverstone in the semis. MK United.
Oh, so it was quarters. We played MK United. Yeah. So we lost 2-1 away from home, and we had chances to win that game. So I'm happy with that, in my opinion. That's not bad. If you go out to a team that won it last year, top of there, then I think you've done your job. Really, you can't be too disheartened. But then when you get to your intermediate, I think your Division Cup is where you kind of set your standard out. That's what I would say personally. Yeah. Not because we're in the final of ours, but I look at that as more of a you go and try and win the interdivisional, but if you get in the divisional, that's where you're at, because you're playing a team of realistically your level.
Yeah, well, I mean, we lost to Silverstone in that cup, like the round before the quarters, I think. We lost 1-0. It was actually one of our better results against Silverstone this year. It was a bit of a rubbish game. But yeah, we looked at it as that's the cup we never expected to do, because we were like, we're eventually going to play a Prem team.
Realistically, you're going to
the quarters.
If you want to get in the final, you're going to have to take a Prem team out. That is really how it works, isn't it? Let's say.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, also, I don't know too much about Bradwell. Bradwell won it last year as well. They beat Carpathians 1-0 in that interdivisional final. So,
is it another one of those ones where they can bring in a few players from the first team?
Yeah, they could do. Whether or not they would
make it a bit harder.
Is there a level of it you go, well, you know what? We're playing a team from the league below. Our team should be good enough to do it. Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if anyone from Bradwell's listening, if you see Harvey Trim on the team sheet and you see Lucas Broadhurst, we're in for a tough night, because
they both played
run, and they won't stop running, and they
both played against us in that final as well, and they did. Yeah, they absolutely ran us ragged for 90 minutes. So yeah, good players. So I'll start the predictions off. I'm going to say 3-1 Silverstone.
Oh,
okay.
We've played against Silverstone, and I know how dangerous they are. So I'm gonna set my stall out and go all in with this one.
Okay, so you went 3-1.
And what about you?
You go first, Alan. I'm writing down these things.
Okay, I'll go first. I understand, and I know how good Silverstone are, and probably can be, but I think I'm going to go against you, Stephen. I'm going to go 2-1 Old Bradwell. I think Silverstone will be in it. I think they'll be in it. Obviously, they'll be in it. But I think maybe potentially Old Bradwell will bring in one or two from the first team that will make that slight bit of difference. But I think as the Prem team, they probably will be more up for it, I think. And 2-1, I reckon. Old Bradwell. That's mine.
I'm going to go 3-0 Bradwell.
Ooh.
Oh.
So I just think they can't keep going.
Against a team that have collectively scored 14 goals against me and you this season. That's brave. Very brave.
I just think Bradwell, look, they're a development team of a South Mid team, so they're going to be well drilled. They're going to be good.
Yeah.
They've just beat Strictly, you could argue, is this year have been the best team in the North Bucks this season. Fingers crossed they go on and finish it up. So yeah, I just think maybe on the night, it's so hard because everything should go against Silverstone. They're young lads, inexperienced, won't handle the big occasion, if there can be a big occasion in the North Bucks. Everything should go against them, but they just keep winning and they keep beating. I mean, you don't beat MK United if you're not a good side. You don't. MK United are, for me, if you're a team who wants to go and play in the South Mids, in the Prem, I sort of see MK United as a bit of a rite of passage. If you can beat them, then you're a really good side, because they are a team full of players.
Full of players that have played at that level, that's what I would agree.
And Silverstone has done that. So everything should say Silverstone, but I just think maybe Bradwell on the night. They won it last year. Yeah, we'll go with that. So best luck.
Okay. So now we'll come on. We've got like 4 minutes left of this before we go into our final break. But Old Bradwell in another cup final. They're in the Premier Division Cup final against MK United. MK United is a team that you guys have know quite well as well. What's your take on this one, Stephen? Obviously, we've said quite a lot about Old Bradwell already, but this is a divisional cup final now. What do you? And going back on what you were saying about how you would feel about an interdivisional cup final versus a divisional cup final, are Old Bradwell thinking differently about this one? Do you reckon?
I think you'd be silly not to think about winning any cup final. I think both opponents they've got to play a really tricky, and I don't know which one's played first, but I would say if they win the first one, they win the second one, and if they lose the first one, they lose the second one. I think you do get a lot of scar tissue from those games. I know it's a good analogy, not a great analogy, but like you do get a lot of bad feelings if you've just played and no doubt I think they'll probably have to play either Saturday, or Saturday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Saturday that week. So it will be availability. Obviously, normally everyone's available. Yeah, and normally everyone's available if they pick up an injury in that final. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not a game that you're going to stop playing anyone. I think it really depends on. I don't know. It's a funny one. I'd say I'm backing Silverstones to win that interdivisional, in my opinion. But MK United, they're full of players that have been there, done it, scored goals at higher levels. But then does that give them the right to be better? Maybe not. And Old Bradwell, it's looked like I'm going to probably go with Old Bradwell beat MK United in the Premier final because they've pulled off results against all of them. They've beaten Stookley, obviously, in that other semi-final. And I would say they go and they win 2-1 against MK United because I've seen MK United be a bit frail this season, and also they're getting on a bit as well. I would say a lot of their players they're not young team and they play quite direct football, whereas Old Bradwell might have the upper hand in that energy wise. So I'd say, yeah, I'm going to go. Old Bradwell would, for me, look the better side to win the first one, and they lose against Silverstone the week after.
Yeah, no. Dan, just quickly.
I'm going to go polar opposite, mate. I just think
you got about a minute, Dan. So we'll carry on when we come back. But you got about a minute to quickly get something in.
Sound like his wife.
Go for your break now, rather than we get in full flow.
Can we go for a break now?
Yeah, go for a break now.
Okay, yeah, we'll go for a break now. When we come back, we'll get Dan's take on Old Bradwell versus MK United in the Premier Division Cup final. When we come back after these messages. We're back. Okay, so as I said just before we went, Old Bradwell Development versus MK United in the Premier Division Cup final. Stephen's had his little say. He's gone. What did he say? You're going for MK United, were you?
No, it's Silverstone. I'm glad you were listening. Silverstone to win 2-1 in the first one, and then lose to Silverstone.
Oh, so Dan, Stephen touched on it a little bit earlier about MK United being a bit fragile this season in the Prem. And they, I mean, to be fair to him, they did start off a bit slow this season, but they find themselves second in the table behind Great Horwood. Stookley obviously got quite a few games in hand on both of them, and only 3 points behind Great Horwood. But what's your take on MK United this season?
Well, I'm looking at it now. So you think they've got 2 games in hand on Old Bradwell they're playing, and they're 11 points clear of them. So they could technically go 16 points clear. So for me, that says they've been better. They've both, when I looked at their results, they've both beat each other this season. So MK United won the home game, Bradwell won their home game, basically. But I just think when it comes to this, and don't get me wrong, Old Bradwell will have experienced players, but I just think you look at MK United's team, you've got people like Dom Lawless played at a really high level, scored loads of goals this season. This is a Sunday League game to him, and he ain't going to give 2 tosses about this. He's not the occasion. Luke Little again, played at a far higher level. Yeah,
really good players. So this is the thing. This is where go either way, couldn't it? Because of the quality.
Yeah, their skipper's my old teammate Joe Sames, Cranfield. Great player, won loads of things. He's not going to be phased in the slightest. And I think look through most of their team. I want to say another name I recognise in him. I don't know him. I don't know Luke or Dom, but Jordan Spruce. I want to say he was ex-Newport or he was at Cranfield.
I recognise his name actually.
So they've got players who all played at a better level. And what I quite like about them as well is, again, I don't know Rownley personally, but a couple of times I've briefly met him. He's switched on. Like, he seems like a good
brilliant guy as well. Like, he knows his stuff, and he's been around. So
I just think on the day they'll be able to just pull it out of the bag. I just think that you don't like they turned up in the Prem, won the Prem. They've added even more quality to their team, and this season, you know what? This season, it's still there.
Yeah,
it's only a couple of slips from Stookley, and
considering they've lost 3 all season, and they were pretty early doors. You could quite easily see them go on and hopefully not for we're all rooting for Stookley, we're all rooting for Max to do it, but I just think maybe MK United. Yeah, I don't. As I say, I don't know them. I have no affiliation to them, but I just think they're a really, really good team, and they play the football which should be at this level. Like Steve said, they're direct. We watched them. I've only seen them play properly once. They played in this pre-season. We played. I can't think where we played a team over in the ADL, wherever they were, Hayford maybe or something like that. And basically, they were playing their first team. Our first team was playing their reserves, and our reserve team played this Hayford A team. And basically, they were the game in the middle. We sat and watched them. And I don't know why I had this interpretation that MK United were going to be this ball popping around, tick-a-tack football. And they weren't. It was Joe Staines at the back, really good player, can play a 30-yard pass, and he was just clipping it long every time. But it works. And
you're playing exactly.
And actually, it's not pretty, but it was really effective. And I don't know if that's the way they play all year round. I don't know. But the pitch that day was brilliant, so there was no reason they couldn't have played football. And we had that exact conversation in the bar after our game Saturday. We tried to play football, and I just raised the question of like, is there ever a pitch in the North Bucks you can do it on? It's rare.
No, exactly.
So actually, the teams like MK United just get it right. Just pump it. Just play for second balls. Play them. So again, I don't know enough about Old Bradwell so I'm purely going one-sided here, but.
I think I've got a lot more affiliation and experience when it comes to MK United. I can't say that I've even watched Old Bradwell in the last 2 seasons, but like you said, they've been sort of inconsistent, and I think that would maybe coincide with the first team, and I don't know how much they sort of integrate. But obviously, then they could play a few of them against MK United, and then the levels.
Is it Old Bradwell whose first team were going to win the South Mid Div 2?
No, it's New Bradwell.
New Bradwell, is it? Oh, sorry. Okay.
New Bradwell, yeah.
So we'll see. So I mean, I'm going to back MK United. I'm going to say 3-2. I think it'll be a good game. 3-2.
I will try and watch some of these finals, but I think it's obviously we'll be playing. So,
Stephen, who did you back in this one?
Again, I've sold you twice.
I know. I'm just making sure that Dan.
So busy like earlier,
down.
2-1. Old Bradwell. Nice one.
2-1 Old Bradwell. You know what? I'm gonna go a little bit outside the box. I'm gonna say it's gonna finish 2-2 with full time.
I'm gonna say no one said penalties yet, have they?
I kind of forgot about penalties.
2-2 at full time. MK United on penalties.
Ooh,
and I'm going to say
that's coming in at 15-1 if you want to tenner on
it. yeah.
Anyone going? Oh my God, we've got 3 absolute non-league anoraks here talking about the lowest level of men's football. But sod it, you're listening. So if you are going to take the mick out of us, you're the one listening to us. It's even worse.
Yeah. So actually,
you're worse. Yeah. So
That's all the finals covered, lads. That's all the finals covered. We've got about 10 minutes before we finish. Quite aside from the one that you're actually attending, Stephen, are you going to actually manage to get to any of these finals?
The problem is, I think we've got games, haven't we? So maybe the 4 PM one on that Saturday. We've got Leighton Woodside is the weekend before.
Right, that'll be you'll get walkover on that one.
No, it's in our league, to be fair. And I'm actually, I'm going, while I'm going to Paris on Sunday, so I'm not back until next Monday. So probably not, apart from, I guess, we'll go to the final, and then if we lose, I'll probably sit and have 13 bottles of tequila and watch the 4 o'clock game.
And Dan, are you gonna maybe make it to any
I can't swear on this, but
maybe next season.
Am I rubbish? No. I have no intention of that. And I mean that in the nicest way, but no.
They'll probably make you pay as well, won't they?
No, they will, mate.
I might try and get to your one, Stephen. I might try and get to your one.
I mean that's the only one. So I think my season finishes on the 14th, but then the Reddies have got games on the 17th, and the Reddies have got a game on the 24th of May as well.
Yeah, we've got one, and like I said to you the other day, I don't know even how we're going to fill the team for that.
That's meant to be our end of season do.
Yeah.
So, so no, I'll probably be watching the Reddies in ours, or may get some minutes. Who knows? May get some minutes for the Reddies. No, I won't. But obviously, be keeping an eye on it and see if our score predictions are correct and go from there. But no, all the best to everyone. Look, let's be honest. We all play at a rubbish level of football. But like Kingy rightly said the other day, in a nice way it needs, and let's be honest, in North Bucks, you've only got to win 3 games to win a cup in the North Bucks. That's how the little teams we have. It's like but winning league titles are great. You always remember the cup wins. The cup nights, they're the ones you remember, and I think
I'll tell you for free, they are the ones you remember at 4 a.m. every night when I wake up.
Win or lose, Stephen.
We're on the booze. Win or lose, we're on the booze.
It says how long ago my first one was. That was played at Buckingham Town. Back when Buckingham Town had a pitch.
In black and white. Everything was in black and white.
And we beat Hanslow 2. And we beat Hanslow 2-0. And I think that was my first experience for cup final. And they are wicked. Even when I lost to Impact the other day, I was 33. You still enjoy it. You look forward to it. It's a great day. Yeah. And I absolutely contradicted everything I said earlier about the don'ts on that day. I got there early. But I think I went the day before to hang the kit out. So
you did.
I went and hung all the kit out, done all of that. It was all set. It was lovely.
That's embarrassing, going to a cup final doing stuff like that.
And I'll never forget you talk about, and again, I said earlier, unloading all your energy. I don't have a lot of energy anyway. But I remember scoring to go 1-1 against Impact. It was a good goal. And I remember letting out that much of a scream. I'm pretty sure I emptied my tank there and then from that scream. And I was knackered at half an hour. And I was like, I've got nothing left in the tank whatsoever.
Oh, God.
And then we went at least I managed to score it. But yeah, anyway.
Look, guys, we've got a few minutes left. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes left before we have to go. But as we said at the top of the show, this is the last one of the season. And it's obviously the last one that we are going to be doing for 3B's Radio as well. We won't be coming back on this station next season, but that's not to say that we're not coming back. Let's explain to the people that are listening and the people that may be watching, if we put the video out. But what are we going to be doing next season?
So we're going to attempt to do what we're doing now, almost, aren't we? So a little bit face to face, but more often than not, because we're all busy, we're all still playing, we're all still involved in football. So we'll do some digital stuff. But we're going to try and create our own. I hate to call it a podcast. Sounds cringy. Everyone does a podcast, but our own show, and it will be a podcast. Yeah. We don't know if that'll be digital or visual yet or what. And I think we have got the name. I think we are going to call it Lower Leagues.
I think we are going to call it Lower Leagues, yeah.
Obviously,
Lower Leagues.
Not so much always about the North Bucks. There we will be talking about non-league football in general. But let's be honest, we've all got a real affiliation with the North Bucks. And to be honest, we all sat down and said, if we only had 50 viewers a week, but they're all, but it was because we talked about North Bucks, that's good enough. We do it because we like talking about lower league football, don't we?
Yeah. And I think for us, like I said before, it's about we don't get I know it sounds corny, but it's amazing to just hear even if for example Grendon 1-0, and if you scored, do you know what I mean? It's just nice to go on and be listen to stuff about your team and give people at our level that platform as well, because football means just as much at our level than it does at any level.
Well, that was the whole reason.
More committed, in fact.
That was the whole reason why I started the show in the first place with the radio station, was to try and promote the Buckinghamshire and especially the North Bucks area, because there was nothing around to promote the teams and the leagues in the area. So that's why we started it in the first place, and that's why we're sort of morphing and carrying on into something else for next season. We're going to cover other leagues, lower leagues as well, but we will touch up. We will come into, because you're involved. I mean, but let's take this opportunity before we go to say thanks to everybody that's at the station that's helped us and that's put us on, given this platform. And to everybody that's listened, to everybody that's come onto the show, everybody that's texted in.
All four of you that have listened.
Well, to be fair, you think we've had most teams come on, haven't we?
Yeah,
we've had quite a lot of teams come in.
You've had Stukely, you've had MK United, you've had Twyford, you've had MK. You know, you don't have MK City. You had
MK Royals.
MK Royals. We've had Shanger on. We've had
Grendon
on. Grendon.
Yeah. We've even had teams outside of Norfolk. We've had New Bradwell. We've had Cheshire United ladies. We've had the guy unfortunately the guy that was managing Yaxley that turned out to be a complete fraud. We had him on one of our first guests. Thanks.
Haven't we? I mean, that was a great episode. We've had Newport.
Newport, yeah.
And I've already spoke to Cam, and he said they're happy to come back on, so they'll be one of our new guests.
No, exactly, absolutely, 100%.
And we would, if anyone is listening who is affiliated with a proper non-league club, and we're talking someone who plays midweek games with floodlights, basically. If you do want to come
someone
on,
that don't have to do the lines themselves. When I get there,
if there is someone, we've always spoke, it'd be quite cool. We do have the equipment to do it. We've always said it would be quite nice if it's not a night one of us are training. Go watch a midweek game and then record something with a manager after the game or something in the bar. And look, we do it for fun, and it's quite nice that we hear not a lot. We don't have a lot of listeners, but I take quite a lot away when you hear that. You know, you've got Max at Stupid's always listening. We know Roundy likes our posts. We've clearly been listening. He's been on the show before. So, good clubs in our league, and if we can promote those clubs and talk about them, then wonderful.
But look, I want to have the final say before we go, and I want to say thanks to obviously everybody that's come on and commented and text and everything. But I also want to say thanks to Keith and AJ and everybody at Freebies Radio for giving us the platform and all that. But also I want to say thanks to Charlie, who started the show with me. Stephen, when you came in. Dan, when you've come in. You guys have been absolutely amazing. It's been an absolute blast doing this live on the radio, and I'm looking forward to what comes next with us three plus Kingy as well. But yeah, so thanks to everybody that's been here and done it with us.
We could be a bit more explicit.
Yes, we can. We can. And on that note, before we do, it's time to go. Say good night, lads.
Good night. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening, and we will see you all soon, very, very shortly in our new environment. See you all soon.